Welcome to the BingeWatchers.com review of The Returned. No, that's not it. Resurrection? No, Glitch. Welcome to the BingeWatchers.com review of Glitch. And I want to apologize for the earlier mistakes in the titles, but these three shows have the exact same premise. I mean, the exact same premise, which is these people who've been dead for years find themselves inexplicably brought back to life and in perfect health with no recollection of how they died or if they've even been dead, and now we have to find out what happened to these people. All three of these shows, same premise. So initially when I found out about Glitch, I wasn't too interested in it because I've seen The Return, I've seen Resurrection, and I'm like, not another one. But this is a Netflix original, so I decided to give it a try because Netflix has not let me down yet, and their original content is superb. So let's just jump right into it. Glitch takes place in the small fictional town of Urana, Australia, and the story starts off with this kid named Bo, riding his bike in the middle of the night near a cemetery, and he hears some noise, and he decides to do the typical teenager movie TV show trope and go and check out what's making this noise. So he goes into the cemetery and sees these people clawing themselves out of the ground, and of course he does the sane and logical thing. He calls the police, which then introduces us to our main character, Sergeant James Hayes, who comes in and notices these people, and he assumes that they're people who've been partying too much and they're just running around naked in the cemetery. And yes, they were naked. So apparently in Australia they bury their people naked. I don't know, but so he calls the local doctor, Dr. Alicia McKellar, and when she comes, she brings blankets and whatnot, and they take them to the local clinic to get themselves cleaned up and find out like what's going on, because at this point no one has any idea what's going on. And it isn't until Sergeant James finds that one of the women who was buried there is his wife, who died 2 years ago of cancer, that they realize that these people were once dead and now they're not. And these people for the most part have no idea that they were dead or how they died or their names. So now we have to figure out how they died, who they are. And what I like about Glitch is the fact that I've seen this premise before in 2 other shows, but it takes its own spin to the premise, and the characters themselves are far more interesting than Resurrection or The Returned. So it kind of keeps you drawn in. And these are characters who've died in various eras in Australia's history, or Urana's history as you may. And the fact that most of the show takes place between now and flashbacks as these characters find out who they are, how they died, and if they have any remaining relatives and stuff like that. It's such a character-driven show, but it's still a supernatural thriller at the end of the day. And in the back end of it, we always have the overarching rainbow that these guys are dead. They don't know how they died, and apparently they can't leave the town, because if they try to leave Urana, they end up bleeding from their eyes and they disintegrate instantly into dust or whatever the case may be. So they're kind of stuck in this small town. Dr. McKellar and Sergeant James tries to keep them hidden from the general populace until they can find out what's going on, because we all know how these things happen. Once people find out, they call the greater authorities and they come in, and then they start experimenting and poking holes in these people and trying to find out what makes them tick. How are they alive? Because if they're alive, that means something brought them back, and if we can harness bringing them back to life, we can harness immortality maybe. So James and McKellar keep them a secret, and it's kind of hard because this is a small town where everybody knows everybody, and these characters who have been brought back to life aren't exactly the listening type, because who would be? I mean, they're from Urana. Some people want to find their family, if their family's still alive. Some people want to find out their history, what's been going on. Like if I was dead for 100 years and I came back to life and I see that everything I've known is different, I would want to find out what's going on too. So they're trying to balance that out, trying to keep them away from the city, away from other people. And the fact that it's only 6 episodes makes the series that much better, because every episode matters. Because certain series, the longer it is, the weaker the premise is, because there's only so much you can actually do with that vague premise, that a 20 episode season or a 13 episode season might be a stretch for it, but 6 episodes is perfect. We have enough episodes to get everyone's backstory as the mystery evolves and we find out more about how these people were brought back, or we get clues as to how they're brought back. And these characters with their own personal stories dealing with loss, revenge, loyalty, forgiveness, and redemption really drive it home, and we get such a tightly knit drama, and it's supernatural at the same time. Like, this isn't just a drama, it's supernatural. There's an overarching force behind this, and we're being teased it throughout the entire series. And usually shows that leave you with more questions than answers aren't usually satisfying, but Glitch finds a way to perfectly balance this out that makes you want more. And the fact that I leave so many questions unanswered that I have to tune in to next season to find out what happened, what's going on, who's doing this or what's doing that, is the perfect series. It reminds me of Lost in that sense, because if you remember the early days of Lost, every season finale left you with more questions, so you had to tune into the next season to figure out what's going on. Overall, Glitch is a great story, tightly packed. I highly recommend it. 6 episodes long, so you can binge it in about an afternoon. And so go check out Glitch. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like and subscribe to the channel for more reviews from thebingewatchers.com.